I know I've been good this year, but Nintendo, have you? Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. I hope you're all doing really well, getting mosty toasty for the approaching holiday season. Nintendo! Oh my goodness, I think they're back on the naughty list. It's like one step forward, two steps back for these guys lately, and it bums me out, but we gotta go over all the nitty-gritty details, okay? Because Nintendo has reversed course once again with Nintendo Switch Online, and I am flabbergasted. Plus, Nintendo has a Christmas warning for its entire fan base, and there's news about new consoles and how they may or may not be coming anytime soon. But on the bright side, there's a fun Pokemon rumor that I really like. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hope you're all doing fantastic. Make sure to smash that like button if you enjoy the show and want to support the ho-ho-ho of what we do here. Make sure to let me know your take on today's topics, especially Nintendo's rolling backwards. It's like Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. That ball is coming and they can't seem to get out of the way. And I want to know how you feel about this NSO Expansion Pack tomfoolery. Let's kick it off with a helpful tip straight from Nintendo. All right, the holiday season is going to be heavy on game consoles, which is a beautiful thing and so much fun for those youngsters in our lives or oldsters. I mean, hey, give your grandpa a Switch. That's a great gift. But Nintendo issued a warning saying, yo, the servers are going to be swamped on Christmas Day, so if you are getting a Switch for a friend, a kid, a parent, a relative, make sure you prep that thing before the 25th. Both Nintendo Japan and Nintendo of America are advising new players to set up these systems beforehand because they say, hey, the servers might not be able to do simple things like create a new Nintendo account. They're going to be so overloaded, and we've seen in recent times the online services for Nintendo have a complete shutdown due to Amazon's systems. It wasn't really Nintendo's fault, but here Nintendo is being proactive and saying, hey, we know it's going to be a lot of people all playing at once, all trying to set up at once, all on at once, all enjoying their new games at once, and in today's online digital future, the worst thing is getting something brand new and not being able to access it. So my kind of follow-up tip is if you are getting a Switch for someone and you got them digital games, or you got them games that have a digital component, something that needs to be downloaded like a code in the box or extra data that needs to come with the cartridge, then please try to do that ahead of time. I know it seems counterintuitive to like open things up, but you can rewrap them. I guarantee though, your receiver, your kid, whoever is getting the gift will be so grateful that they can bust into the game instead of having to download 40 gigabytes on Christmas Day and maybe not even enjoy their present until the following day. Or if servers are chaotic, maybe not even till the next day. So that's a good tip from Nintendo before the weekend. And now we've got a tip from the chief of Intel, right? They make all the special chips that power a lot of the pretty cool devices around our planet. Now they don't power Nintendo Switch, but their head honcho warns that the semiconductor shortage is gonna last at least until 2023. We've heard at least until 2022, and now all of these projections are shifting a full year forward. And he notes something very interesting, that pre-COVID, the semiconductor industry was growing about 5% per year, and then since COVID, it's growing about 20% year over year, and there's insane shortages. So an insane demand coupled with insane shortages makes for sold out systems, makes for scalper's paradise on eBay, and makes for a universe where I don't think we're getting any Switch in 2022. Maybe you were excited or worried about the possibility that Nintendo could drop a 4K Switch Pro next year following up the OLED, after it seems like the OLED may have been a bit of an amalgamation, a creation from some of this shortage as well. But if we're seeing shortages at least until 2023, and we've got companies like Nvidia apologizing and Toshiba going as far to say game console makers are among the customers making the strongest demands, and we're sincerely sorry for their frustration as none of them have a 100% satisfaction. Nobody is getting the chips that they need. And I mean, there's a lot of hungry gamers out there. These console industries are expanding exponentially, and that's where you're seeing this demand just rise and rise and rise. So at this point, it seems like the worst idea is to introduce brand new hardware. And so I'm now of the thought process that Nintendo will sit out 2022 in any sort of hardware way and maybe return in 2023 when things stabilize a bit, and instead of introducing a Switch Pro, just go for like the next Switch. That seems to make the most sense at this time. The other point of this is that it's going to be pretty tough to find things like the Switch OLED, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X for a while now. Probably a whole another year. And I wonder how that impacts the industry in terms of next-gen titles. Not as much on the Switch side, but on the other platform holders, do they want to put out next-gen only games when they know that gamers are going to have a hard time getting the actual consoles? I will note on the bright side, seems like prices have started to come down on eBay, and we're seeing not as huge of a gap between retail and scalping price. Sometimes it seems like you can get them for only $100 to $200 more, as opposed to double the price, which is what we were seeing nearly all the time since their original launches. Definitely let me know in the comments down below if you've ever seen an OLED, a PS5, or a Series X in store. Have you ever seen one of the newest consoles from the three major platform holders physically? Like, besides yours or besides, mine, have you seen one in store? Because I don't think I ever have. 'Tis the season though, so let's get a little bit glass half full and talk about construction. Yes, they're doing construction over in Orlando, Florida, as they prepare for Universal's new theme park. Now, this is going to be where they house Super Nintendo World, which already exists and opened in Japan. I can't wait to see it. The Mario Kart ride looks so sick, and real-life Goombas and Yoshis and Toads and treats and merch. Oh my goodness. But it seems like something more is at play here. We know that they've got a Donkey Kong area that is in the works, and we've already seen Universal Japan put up a door that is obviously gonna lead to DK's Jungle. But now there's a rumor that they're expanding upon the land for Super Nintendo World over at the construction site for Universal's new Epic Universe Park. And there's some speculation that perhaps this area could be put to use for Pokémon. Now, we've heard before that Pokémon is being considered for Super Nintendo World, but obviously they started with the Mushroom Kingdom, and it seems like they're moving to Donkey Kong from there. I would really hope that they would consider Zelda and Pokémon as probably their next two biggest properties. With Pokémon honestly being so universally identifiable, I think it's inevitable that it gets added at some point. We've seen little Pokemon parks pop up here and there, but nothing on the scale of a Disney or Universal, so this truly would be an amazing opportunity to deliver some sort of cutting-edge, super cool ride, a thrill ride even, something along the lines of like Indiana Jones or Gringotts from Universal. I'd love to see some sort of trek through a Pokemon world. And I think you could take inspiration from this year's new Pokemon Snap and deliver a ride like that where you have to go through. They maybe even could incorporate an AR component where you get to take pics and then print them out at the end of the ride, or just have it be a wild chase as you're looking for the hidden Charizard or the lost Arcanine. Maybe Celebi or Zapdos have gotten loose and you gotta track them down. I think it would be perfect. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd be pumped to see Pokemon appear at a theme park in the near future. All right. I hate to say this because I thought Nintendo was on the right course with Nintendo Switch Online. We know that the expansion pack rollout was just disastrous. $50, limited games, no plan, all sorts of glitches and poor emulator performance. It was a mess. Animal Crossing DLC was a nice perk, but they didn't go beyond that in any way, shape, or form, and it felt like just a shoddy, thrown-together thing, which isn't really like Nintendo, except when it comes to their classic catalogs. Well, things started to get a bit better. They brought forth Paper Mario, and they even announced Banjo Kazooie for January, giving us an insight into what's coming next. Then they stealth dropped 5 Genesis games, which, hey, okay, we're in the right direction, we're moving forward, we're taking some steps, trudging through the sludge, and maybe seeing greener pastures. Oh, goodness gracious. Well, we now have news and reports that Nintendo has a save game issue on their hands for N64 on Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack. Now, this began because a player uploaded a video to Twitter showing how they were playing Paper Mario, one of the bright spots of Nintendo's recent online debacle, and they hit a certain tree and the game crashed. Which, par for the course, given we know this isn't a perfect emulator, but there's more. Because the lovely gift that this crash gave was a complete deletion of all save data. And for a game like Paper Mario, which is a long-form RPG, that's horrible. That sucks. And for a service that costs an exorbitant amount, this is unacceptable, and it's like, Nintendo, how are you gonna do this? I was trying to give you credit for going in the right direction. And look, I've never let them off the hook easy, but I really thought they were making the right moves. And now we find out, after digger deeping, from data miner Oatmeal Dome, that this is in fact a problem at the core of Nintendo Switch Online's N64 emulator, that every game could run into this same issue. And it's because there's this problem for all N64 NSO games where save data is only written to the Switch's memory when the emulator closes normally. If the emulator happens to crash, that save data could poof. So now the recommendation is that you use the save states as part of Nintendo Switch Online emulators and not the actual save data in-game, which is, I guess, doable, but it's confusing and it's downright silly that for an overpriced service, we have to jump through hoops, remember weird things, and worry about our save data being destroyed for a game that was one of the only exciting things that's happened in recent memory on the service. This stinks. And I saw someone suggest, and I almost agree, but I don't know how Nintendo handles it. They suggested that Nintendo just like start over. And look, the reality is they can't and they won't. I think that would be great if they said, you know what, we're going to close up this expansion pack for a couple weeks and come back with a better offering and reward you with something. I don't think the way Nintendo operates, that is an option. I think the only hope is that they're able to patch things behind the scenes, work on things, and I really wonder why they weren't able to make this work from the jump. Did they not have enough staff? Was this project severely affected by COVID? Was it something that they just didn't give much thought to? Do they really not care that much about their online? But I feel like it's got to be something that just went really wrong. Because we've seen Nintendo from all levels say that the online service is very important to them. And we've seen their higher up execs say they want to encourage more players to subscribe to their online memberships. And this isn't the way to do it. Look, Nintendo makes some bad choices from time to time, but the Switch era has been full of very good choices, very forward-thinking choices, and very consumer-friendly choices. And this is like their biggest blemish yet, in my opinion. So I don't think there was any part of Nintendo that wanted to just be like, well, whatever happens, happens. We're going to throw a couple people, and if it sucks. I think something went really wrong, or something behind the scenes broke. I'm not sure. I'm no expert on that front, but I do know that Nintendo didn't want it this way. And I hope they realize the bad faith that they've brought about, unfortunately, because of this shoddy N64 Expansion Pack service. I don't hear as many complaints about the Genesis side of things, but frankly, I think Nintendo fans were far more excited for the N64 side of things. And they better announce more soon. They might even want to go the route of what I've seen them do in the past with some of the handheld consoles, where they gift gamers games. Now, I think Nintendo would have to feel pretty bad to make this happen, but they should feel pretty bad, shouldn't they? I mean, let me know in the comments down below if you think Nintendo should do something. I think if you're an expansion pack buyer and all the issues that you've dealt with, if you're someone paying them $50 a year and you've had to endure these glitches and this nonsense and save data deletion and no clue what's coming and only one thing of DLC, like, I think they should say, hey, here's 3 Switch indies that you get to play as long as you're a member. Look, they can incentivize it and say you have to be a member, otherwise you lose it. That's fine. But do something. Take some indie hits from 2021 and say, hey, as an apology, as a sign of good faith, we're giving you these games. They really should do something, because giving us more classics that potentially perform poorly, that's not going to cut it. The other option is that they announce Game Boy Advance, another DLC pack, an exclusive game, something of that sort, but they need to move, because every time I think that they are, they're really not. And it's going to take something much more major than just 5 Genesis games or Banjo Kazooie in January to really set this ship straight. Unfortunately, I feel like we won't find out until the first Direct of the year, which probably will be sometime around February. So ways to wait, and I would love to see stats of how many people actually subscribe to the expansion pack, how many have since canceled, and how many new subscribers are they acquiring after seeing and hearing exactly how this all worked out. I think there's a lot of Nintendo faithful that probably jumped on board excited to relive some of their favorite nostalgic N64 moments. But after seeing all the news and the reports, and the fact that people like me are taking them to task and not just letting this slide, it's like, oh, but you can play Mario. No, this is not how it should go. And I wonder how many people are actually buying into this service knowing that it has so many sucky elements. So I'd love to hear from all of you about how this is affecting you. Have you had a save data crash glitch on your N64 emulator? Is this something that bugs you? And if you don't have the expansion pack, what would it take for you to want to get it? Because I bet right now, there's no way you're jumping from 20 to 50 for their online service that all that happens is that it has problems. Let me know your take down there below, and let's move to our poll, which is a pretty fun one. Today I asked you guys about the new Switch games you've got this whole year. We're really wrapping up soon, and so I want to know how many Nintendo Switch games did you buy in 2021? The big winner was 3 to 5. 38% of you said that's how many you grabbed, and I think that's a healthy amount. It shows that Nintendo did a pretty darn good job this year with their first-party output, although I bet Monster Hunter Rise and some of the successful third-party ports were also a big chunk of that. I'm sure Metroid Dread gained some of your attention, and Animal Crossing, Mario Kart 8, we still know those sell so well. 32% said 1 to 2 games. Maybe you were a fan of Mario Party Superstars, or maybe you found something on the eShop. 17% said 6 to 10, which I still think is a pretty healthy portion of the audience buying nearly double-digit Switch games. 7% of you said 11 to 20, and then 5% of us crazy folk said 21 plus. A lot of Switch games to play and tell you about and share and enjoy, and I'm just a mega fan, so it makes a lot of sense. But hey, Nintendo had a pretty darn good year. And the fact that we look ahead and see 2022 as being significantly better, that's got me smiling. And so even with some of the stuff going on with chip shortages and Christmas server debacles and Nintendo seemingly never getting their classic games catalog right, I am hopeful for the future. And I'm downright excited for 2022 because right from the get-go, it's going to be good. Pokemon Legends Arceus out in January, and then the fun just follows from there. I got you covered. You know where to find me. Thank you so much for your support and for being here. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Hit that like button on your way out. Make sure you're staying safe, staying healthy, staying happy, staying positive out there, drinking your water, all right? Eating your cookies, but also eating some good stuff too. Trying your best to enjoy this season. Look, you only live once, so even if things are down in the dumps and people aren't being the people you want them to be, try to find something good. Try to find that granule of gold to grab onto, and know you only live once. This is your chance to find beauty and a little bit of love and maybe a little bit of fun, and I hope you can do that, and I'm here to help you in any way. Hopefully this show assists you in some form or another. Until tomorrow, everybody, thanks again for watching. Love you lots. SwitchForce out.